All right, tonsils and adenoids. What's going on, Secoya Health? Secoya Nation, Dr. Schilling here, bringing you today's Wednesday, not Wednesday yet, it's Wellness Wisdom. Here we go. We're going to do this in two parts. We're going to talk about tonsils, and then we're going to go over to adenoids tomorrow. So don't give you too much information one time. It'll help you break it up. So we're focusing on tonsils today. So one of our participants came in recently, and their child had been seen by an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and there's due to some snoring and stuff like that, and they had enlarged tonsils. And so they went in and said, what do we do about this? And they said, well, we'll just cut them out. And they said, whoa, what are you talking about? Well, that's the standard of care, isn't it? You're swollen, we'll just cut them out. It won't be an issue anymore. No big deal. So whenever someone recommends something about removing something from your body surgically, you want to take a pause and say, hold time out. Let's take that information and go figure out some other mechanism of healing in order to avoid long-term effects and unnecessarily cutting something out of your body. If you or your child have an issue with tonsils or adenoids, give Dr. Jess a call, give the clinic a call, and Dr. Jess can give you a second opinion, because what's happening is we want to make sure you know all the information you need to know before you go getting something removed out of your body that can never be put back, like a gallbladder, some adenoids and some tonsils, a spleen, appendix, something like that. You know, just the general stuff that you are told you can live without, but is really in their original equipment parts. So you want to original equipment manufacturing parts, so you want to keep those in there. So if we talk about the framework for adenoids, let's talk about what are they. Tonsils, pardon me. Back up, tonsils. Tonsils, back your throat. Sometimes people open their mouth and looks like their throat is like swollen shut, so the tonsils are really swollen. So the tonsils is a lymphatic tissue, it's a lymphoid tissue, and it balances out, get to listen to it now and later. No, you're good. So what happens is your body's trying to process things, and the microbiome works to balance things out. Oftentimes people say, well, I had a bunch of strep throat, or they cultured my throat and there was strep in there, whatever like that. But they don't really tell you why it's there in the first place or what the cause is for them to be imbalanced in the first place. Is it imbalance, or is it actually your body healing yourself? So let's talk about the framework within the brain-body connection so you can appreciate why you or one of your children, or maybe a friend or family or loved one, is dealing with that. So it's kind of like a morsel that's too big to swallow. Like, think of an idea. I can't swallow it. It's too hard to process. The throat is typically about things I can't say, or I'm having trouble processing that concept. So either can't say it or can't swallow it. So the morsel is the idea about something that's hard to process. Because I have a fear of something being pulled away from me. Like, I can't process this idea something's being pulled away from me. So that's one aspect of it. The other is, as I mentioned a second ago, you can't spit it out. Like, I want to say something, I want to get it off my chest, I want to express something to someone, but I don't feel like I have an audience, or I don't feel like I have trust in that person to be receptive to what I have to say without it being dumped back on me, or me being accused of something. Oftentimes if you think about something being imposed upon us, like I'm being forced to do something, or someone said something to me that I don't think I can respond to, so it's imposed upon me based on their feelings or their opinions and stuff like that. It's really about, you don't have to tolerate that unless you want to. And if you feel like you don't feel empowered to do that, then you want to figure out how your brain's working and what's causing that. So at times it can be related to a lack conflict. So if we're lacking something, maybe we can't ask for the validation we need or want. Maybe we can't ask for the resources we want, and that results in our inability to think about the lymph and the letting go. I can't let go of this concept that I'm not getting what I need. And that's part of the lymphoid tissue as well. You could be involved in a heated argument, unable to express yourself, and once again, it gets caught. It's right here. Maybe a child's frustration with their parent or with a situation at school, and they got that stuck in their throat and they can't express it because they have this immense amount of pent-up stress, and they don't know how to diffuse it or let it go. So it gets built up in their lymph, and their lymph is not able to let go. And so if you or your child can't defend yourself, like there's bullying in adult world and bullying in children world. So it doesn't have to be just in school. You can be bullied by and pestered by someone of your coworkers, and as a result, that can be something that's hard to swallow. Again, getting back to I can't ingest the idea or the offensive behavior, or whatever it was, and as a result, then my body doesn't know what to do with it, so the conflict remains. Over time, the tonsils swell, and ultimately, it causes the imbalance. So thinking about that, and I think there's also a thread ultimately about desiring the love of the mother or the father. It just depends on which side of the brain it is and stuff like that. So these are some threads you can consider overlaying on your life and your experiences to see how they might be relevant to your experiences, and they may have led up to some increase in the swelling in the tonsils. Yeah.
Colleen asked, what about if they've had their tonsils taken out when they were little? They didn't really have a choice in that.
Absolutely. Technically, once the tissue is gone, it's gone. But if you listen back to these threads and these different themes, you might not be aware of what was going on when you were a child. Like, I think I had my tonsils and adenoids out when I was, 4, something like that. I don't remember. The point is, you didn't have a voice then. Your parents were doing what they thought was best for you, so they took you to the doctor. Doctor's like, well, just cut them out. It's no big deal. Without consideration of this type of information. Now, you could ask your parent or a sibling that might have been older than you to ask, how do you think this might be relevant to what I was going through that you witnessed and stuff like that? So great question, Kelly, because ultimately you can't put the tonsils back, but you can understand how that theme that was affecting you then might still be relevant to today. Okay? And it might still be recurring. So just consider that for a moment. Okay? So I appreciate the opportunity to respond to that. And thank you, Nissa, for bringing that to my attention. So if you think this is helpful, just let us know what condition, situation, stressor you would like help with. How can we be of service? How can we provide a completely different perspective that will help you make sense of what's going on, i.e. the symptom or the diagnosis or whatever you have going on, and allow you to then be proactive, not just with your health, but also with your relationships, because your relationships are the greatest predictor of the quality of your health over time. That was proven by the ACE study, the Adverse Childhood Experiences study, over and over. It's been repeated a bunch of times. And so if you want the scientific basis of this and why relationships are affecting your health, go back and look at the ACE study done by Kaiser Permanente and the CDC at first, and then repeated over time. So please comment and share with us your perspective. Thank you, Kelly, again.
Colleen.
Colleen?
Colleen.
I'm sorry, Colleen. Kelly. Kelly just left. I apologize, Colleen. So thank you so much. Anyway, we'll bring you some adenoid information tomorrow. So tune in, and we'll see you then. Have a good night, guys.